Hey family, it's your girl Ms. Mofilla, and we are back inside the maze with another dose of the critical breakdown. Listen, I say this every single time, but I'm really excited. I'm really excited to have my good sis. Yes, she about to get us together, get our minds right, okay? What does she call herself? The neighborhood therapist?
Your favorite around the way therapist.
Around the way therapist.
Yes, you can tell what era I came from, right?
She's an around the way girl.
I'm an around the way therapist. I wanted to be an around the way girl so bad that I had to still keep it in my name.
I know that's right. Bamboo earrings, at least 2 pair.
Exactly.
Okay.
I almost wore bamboo earrings tonight.
It's all right.
But I don't have 2 pairs.
Still giving sexy around the way girl energy. Ow. It's the one and only Coach La in the building. Say hey.
What is going on? I'm so excited to be here.
I'm glad you are here
too. Got those little butterflies when you get your dude you want to talk to. And you be like, oh, I'm about to go on my date. I got all beat. I got my face beat. Got a new outfit just to come meet with her.
I'm gonna need y'all to all have that energy. You feel me? You feel me?
First date vibes.
Right, but I appreciate you though, Coach, because I'm gonna give it to her. First, let me start the show because I always do that. I be ready to jump straight into the conversation, and I don't start the show. So it's the critical breakdown. Let's get straight to it. Now listen, what I appreciate about you, Coach, is your approach, okay? I'm gonna talk about how we first met, okay? As somebody who was coming up in this game, you've been a therapist,
yes.
But you decided to kind of transition over into the podcast and media world, right?
Yes.
And in doing so, I guess you stumbled upon little Ms. Mofilla out here, right? We were both working with James Lambert III. Shout out to the homie, okay? Making connections everywhere he goes.
Yes.
And I remember in a conversation with James Lambert, he had mentioned, yo, this is therapist, Coach Law. You really need to check in with her. Y'all got the same type of energy. And I'm like, yeah, okay. And we know here in this city, a lot of times the collaborative move is a little tough. It's really tough. So I'll be honest, when he first said, I was like, yeah, okay, we know. All right, in one ear, out the other. But then I get a special little DM, okay? I got a special DM. And this is why I appreciated you. And it's funny that he said it because you reminded me so much of me. You know what I mean? Where it was just like, I'm fearless. I'm gonna approach whoever I want to approach, and I'm not afraid of anybody's no, so to speak.
Right.
And she approached me like, hey sis, this is what I got going on. I would love for you to be a part of my podcast. And in return, I come on yours. Now I'm gonna tell you straight up, I did.
She curved me.
I didn't curve her. You know what I'm saying? I didn't do it. I didn't curve her. But this industry can make you a little jaded. It can make you a little jaded, right? So I had become more sheltered and shelled, where it was like, let me check out your vibe first before I'm like, yeah, let me schedule you to come on my show, right?
True story.
Cancer stuff.
Yeah,
now that I know we cancers, I know you knew where I was coming from.
Yeah.
And what I appreciated about you was you didn't take offense to that.
I did.
Because I meant it from the most loving way possible, where it's like, it's not a shot to you or your work, but it's me, babe. Like, I've had too many people sit in this chair next to me and be like, yeah, what's up? And I'm like, are y'all for real? Like, you begged me to come on my show just to do that? So I'm sure you know.
I know how that feels.
Exactly.
People sign up for therapy and do that.
We're gonna get into that because that's crazy. So when I hit her with that approach, and she was just like, no worries, sis, we'll meet around down the line and we'll work it out. And then I went to, you actually showed up to my live show first.
I came to your show first.
Her actions spoke so much louder than her words. And I think that's the reason why we're here today. A lot of people talk. A lot of people make a lot of empty promises and speak collaboration, but she actually lives it. So I'm grateful that we are here. She had me on her show, so it's only right that I bring her on mine, okay? Yeah. Welcome.
I'm excited to be here. And I think being a Bostonian, navigating that world that people are jaded can be challenging, but I'm thankful for my expertise that I'm able to say, okay, wait a minute, this isn't about me.
Come on.
And kind of give people their space and let my actions speak louder than my words, because people need to feel safe.
Absolutely.
And I think that's what I got, was like, okay, beep, beep. And I was like, I can feel that. I don't really know you like that. I don't know if I want you up on me just yet. Let me see. And I was like, okay. At first I was like, but I'm okay with you coming on my show. why are you putting a pause on me? And then I had to really take a step back because you always have those two conversations.
Right.
In your head.
Absolutely.
The one that feels rejected.
Absolutely.
And does take something offensively. And then the pause where you go, well, wait a minute. That makes sense.
Real. That's real. I've been on both sides.
Well, let her get to know me.
And I appreciate that.
And I think that's my approach. I was like, I'm gonna go to her stuff. I'm just gonna vibe.
Yeah.
And I said to myself, this is where it came. I was like, she gonna love me.
Ooh, she manifested this.
I was like, she gonna love me. It's okay. I'm gonna let her warm up to me, but she gonna love Coach.
And here we are today. Good sisters. Good sisters.
She gonna love me.
Now, we speak about you being a therapist and kind of like touch on your expertise, but run the resume, that good old LinkedIn resume. Ooh. Run it for us.
So what people don't know about me is I'm a career changer. So I didn't start off in therapy.
Okay.
But when I look back at the trajectory of my career, I've always mentored, advocated, and done counseling of some sort. You know, I started off back in the day at Roxbury YMCA, working with the kids.
Okay.
I've worked in Head Start. So I've done all these things along the way. But I started off in financial services.
Oh, child.
Yeah. So I was doing money, stocks, bonds. I was a full service financial advisor. Shout out to all my financial representatives out there. But I had a Series 6, 63, 7, life insurance, casualty. I had all of that.
All of that. Jeez.
Yeah. So I was doing that prior to coming into becoming a licensed independent clinical social worker.
Okay.
So it's interesting how your life just takes all these different turns, because you would have told me back in 2005, oh, you're gonna be a therapist one day. I would have said, you a lie.
You was a whole lie.
You was a lie.
Okay.
That's not what I want to do. I want to wear Brooks Brothers suits. I want to have a briefcase,
and
wear some
numbers.
Red bottoms, and crunch numbers. That's what I really thought I was going to do.
Oh, because I was supposed to be behind some servers in the computer room somewhere.
Yeah.
I was IT girl all day long.
Yeah.
And here we are.
I mean, I've always been a go-to person for my friends and my family. I've always been able to hold a conversation. Every report card, it would say, she just needs to stop talking so much. So I understood that I was a talker.
Okay.
Like, you know, I was a connector. But that worked for sales. So, you know, I was doing sales, and that was the way I really was thinking my whole career was going to go. Was I was going to do sales, I was going to be in banking and investment, and I was going to retire and come back and be a philanthropist.
Okay.
Right? Buy up the block, be like a foundation where people could come and get money. That's what I thought.
Okay.
You know?
But look at where our life decided to take us.
And I think once, you know, you saw the shift in the financial markets, and I became a mom. You know, that was a difficult career path for a single mother to do. So it was like my life in terms of getting my son to school and getting to work, it just became a lot.
Okay.
So there was layoffs. I lost some jobs too, y'all. Know how many people out there ever got fired, but truth be told, I got fired for some jobs too.
That's real.
You know,
listen, a lot of people are ashamed about it.
So throughout my, you know, from layoffs to getting fired, just different things. Sort of financial services seemed like it wasn't the place for me anymore. Okay. So I had to take some time off. They gave me a career coach with one of my layoffs from a major bank. I was actually the manager, branch manager, and they consolidated. I was working for, that time was called Sovereign before they became Santander. And I was running the bank down in South Station. And with that layoff, they gave me a career coach. Okay. And with that, it was like, okay, well, what do you love about what you do? And it was counseling, coaching, mentoring, advocating. And I was like, well, what do you do? How did you become a career coach? Maybe I could do that. She's like, well, why not? So I actually started an online coaching program during that layoff, and also became a foster parent.
Good God, coach.
Yeah, so those two things ended up getting me to go back to school to get my social work degree. Okay. Because I really took a liking to helping young girls that were at risk. Okay. So it's very interesting how all of that happened. When I look back, I go, wow, how in the world did you end up here?
Now, if you don't mind me asking, because, you know, we were talking on camera and we realized that we might be in that cougar phase of life. I know it hurts. It hurts a little bit to say it. I know.
I'm the rich auntie.
I know that's right. We'll claim the rich auntie. We'll claim it. Auntie. So in this rich auntie phase, at what stage were you doing that pivot? Because I know sometimes it's hard to make a pivot like that when you kind of settled into a certain lifestyle, right?
I don't think I did. I think I got kicked.
That's usually how it happens,
like when I really think about it, I went kicking and screaming. I remember when I went and found out that I was being laid off from South Station. And I called my manager at the time in tears. She was a Black manager too. I had a Black female manager. And I was like, I can't believe I'm getting laid off. I'm so hurt. And it was like she didn't coddle me. I was a little mad at her too. She was like, you're gonna be all right. Cut the tears out. You're gonna be fine. You're young. You know, you're gonna get a severance package. That's the kind of energy she came with. And it was like, okay, let me stop crying. And I remember being downtown Boston. It was like windy that day. Don't remember the exact date, but I remember being cold, and I remember being like, what am I gonna do now? And I kind of was really stuck at that moment. And I remember her telling me to take advantage of all of the benefits that they gave you with the layoff. She's like, whatever you do, take advantage of everything. And I went and I sat down with that career coach. And that was when everything sort of shifted, where I was like, okay, let me try. Let me try the program. Let me try coaching.
So, I'm sorry.
And the coaching was interesting because I wanted to work with a group of people that wouldn't have had any money. Because part of it was, who's your interest? Who are you interested in working in? But then how are you going to market to them? And can they actually pay you? So if I wanted to work with at-risk youth, who's paying me? Who's paying you? Who's the parents?
Right.
Yeah, we talking about, so that's how I ended up with really starting my first partnerships, is I started working with the Department of Children and Families, nonprofits, and I had them pay me to work with the at-risk youth that I wanted to work with.
So you found the answer to your question, so to speak. Somebody gonna pay you to do what you want to do, right? Now, as you transition into an independent licensed therapist, right? What are some of the biggest challenges you face in your practice?
I think because I don't really like doing just one thing. There's two schools of thought. One school of thought is you need to just sort of be a fly on the wall when you're working with your clients. You need to really sort of live a plain vanilla life.
Okay.
So like you don't really show who you are, your family, where you live, what you drive. And I'm real out there in social media. I'm doing events. I think that's hard. It's the balance of, does she really have the expertise to help me? And so I gotta have all the alphabet soup. So I really did go to school, y'all.
I promise.
I really do have a master's in clinical social work. And yes, although I still have ebonics and colloquialisms, and I think that's what makes me authentic and approachable, is that people don't want you to talk at them or talk down to them. They want you to just have a conversation with them.
There's been an overwhelming theme of Black women specifically feeling like we have to minimize ourselves or water down ourselves in our spaces of work to feel palatable. And I'm a little bit sick of that. I feel like we should be able to have our colloquialisms. We should be able to speak our ebonics. We should be able to be passionate without being labeled as the angry Black woman. And just being ourselves in spaces without having to face the negative connotation. So use your colloquialisms, continue the ebonics unapologetically, please.
I think it's needed. I have always, even in the financial service world, they would send me in the rural South to talk to people about financial services, their 401k plans. And I would always leave with everybody enrolled because I would use very simple language.
Exactly.
Right? You know, you could go into historical returns, but a lot of people's like, that don't mean nothing to me. So I remember I had this one thing, it worked every single time. I said, if you went into your job and they had $10 sitting in the threshold, would you pick it up or would you leave it on the ground?
I'm picking it up.
And I said, every time you come to work and you don't invest in your 401k plan, you're pretty much leaving money in the threshold.
Oh, wow. Okay. You made it make sense.
Right? and I was like, and I said, and you take it with you. I said, some of you guys want raises and your money's never gonna go up. This is one way to get a raise.
Gotcha.
Some of these companies back then was matching up to 15%.
You see how she jumped back in her financial bag on us? You see how she did it, right? She is a whole therapist and she over here giving us financial advice right now. You see how she did it, right?
But truthfully, and I had friends that was living at home because I had my own apartment at 18. But I had friends that lived at home that wasn't investing in the 401k plan at work. And I was like, what are you doing? I was like, you don't have any bills, right? Okay. I was like, you should be, I said, you know they match 15%. We get 15% profit sharing. Do you know that? But you can't get it unless you
contribute something.
So, I mean, a lot of people, some of them tell me now, they're like, oh, I'm so glad I listened to you. And I'm like, I'm the one that don't have the money.
Yikes.
Right?
Yikes.
But they got money. But I bought a house at 26. I just did some other things. But I've always been really interested in how to shift income and shift wealth.
Okay.
That was why I went into economics.
Okay.
So social work, that's all it's really about, is how to redistribute resources.
Okay. I didn't even think about it like that. That's a different way of looking
It really
at
is. Social work. How do you make social work?
Okay. All right. She gonna break down bars right now.
I'm saying it. But it's not, so people didn't understand, well, why are you getting your MBA and your MSW? They don't have anything to do with each other. I always understood that they both had something to do with each other.
Okay.
You can't do these social service programs without understanding where to get the money from.
Come on.
Then you get the grants. If you don't know how to manage money, you go and just spend it and you go and just mess it all up. So you need both.
That's smart. And actually, that's a good tip. Know your business. I don't care what your field is, at least know how to handle the business side of it. Because there's a lot of creative people who can't get to the money because they don't know how to run no business.
Right. So I think those would be the twofold things, is that constantly that balance of my authentic self and my professional self, right? Okay. And bringing those two together without going too far to the left, because you gotta have some balance, right?
Got to.
I got a big personality. Some people either love it or they don't.
That's for them.
Right? So, but balancing that, because I still have to put my clients first. Okay. So I have to pay attention to reading the room and timing. So therapy with me is a little bit different, but it's often also the same.
Okay, same science.
I'm still gonna challenge you. I'm still gonna be okay with taking risks, but I'm always really thinking about how am I helping you grow? Okay. And helping you reach your goals. So I really love what I do. I never would have thought that this is what I would do, but I really, really love it and I'm really good at it.
Yeah, you are. You absolutely are.
Oh, you got a little secret.
Who, me?
Yes.
I got a secret.
Because sometimes I work in the community, and you actually had an opportunity to sit next to me while I was talking to a client the other day.
Oh yes. And actually, I did get a firsthand look at how she therapizes, so to speak. That's my word, therapizes.
Somebody else uses that word too.
So her approach is very much sister girl around the way, like you're talking to your home girl, and she's gonna tell you about yourself when she needs to. Does that pretty much sum it up?
Yeah.
And sometimes your clients don't even agree with you, and you're going back and forth a little bit.
They call me a nurturing beast.
Ooh, yikes! That's an oxymoron.
It was. Wow. I go beast mode with this therapy stuff, but I'm nurturing.
It's all out of love.
I'm serious about it. I really want people. If you come to therapy, what's your goal? I want you to achieve what you came for.
Yeah. And that's actually a breath of fresh air, because I know from my therapy journey, being on the other side of things, a lot of the biggest issues I had as a Black woman was there's a lot of passive therapy. Like, did you write an unsent letter? Or, talk to yourself in the mirror. And it's like, okay, these are all good tools in the second to calm my emotions down. Right. But what are we doing so that we can actually fix and heal issues? You know what I mean? Right. And then sometimes you need that nurturing beast to be like, no, put your shit together. That's not gonna work. You need to do this, you need to do that. And it's not always gonna be namaste and sit in front of a meditation for 5 minutes.
I think that's a good point. I think one of the reasons why I started saying what I do is therapeutic coaching is that I am very conscientious of culture, trauma, but there does come a point, okay, we've talked about all your feelings, now what?
Now what?
Right? We get that you're hurt. We get that this bad thing happened to you, now what?
Because we still have to function.
Right, how long are you going to stay there, and what do you need to come out of it?
Come on.
And these hard questions, sometimes people just don't know the answers to. But I don't believe you always have to forgive somebody. You can decide not to forgive them, but you can still move on. You can still have a life.
That's a word.
And choose not to forgive a person. I think we think, I need to forgive someone so that, no, you don't have to, but why are you not having your life?
Yeah. So I think, for me, forgiveness is something different. It's not necessarily me forgiving you because I want to be back around you, I want you in my life or anything like that. I literally can forgive you just so that it doesn't affect my life. So it's kind of like all right, it happened and I'm letting it go. That's the forgiveness to me, so to speak.
But what if you don't want to let it go?
But can you be happy if you don't let it go?
But that's what I think you can. It's called the duality of emotion.
Okay.
There's some things that I've come to understand that maybe there isn't a place that I have to forgive you. I don't have to forgive you.
Okay.
But I don't have to be still there either. I can choose to not forgive you and still move on.
Oh, that's real. That's real. That's
right? I can choose to be like, listen, what you did was totally
jacked up.
Just jacked up, egregious, and I could care less to ever talk to you again, but I'm about to be over here and have my best life.
Yeah. So isn't that a form of low-key forgiveness? Because you're not angry anymore?
No.
Okay. All right, bet. I bet.
I think you can have both. So I think one of the things is we always feel like we have to choose a side or an emotion. But what if you could just allow it to be what it is? Yeah. When I think about that, that makes me angry. But I don't have to stay angry.
That's real. That's real. Okay.
Right? Okay. Like, it doesn't have to be a continuum. All day long, every day is with me. Everybody who talks to me, I'm upset. No, like, when you don't bring that up, because that makes me upset. I'd rather go over here and go ski
and have a good
time. Go have a good time. But if you bring that up again, I'm probably gonna get angry.
I'm gonna knock your ass out. No.
Well, I'm not encouraging that. But I'm just saying that I think that you can have both emotions.
Absolutely.
And I think the pressure to forgive sometimes can be overwhelming in itself versus validate the person. That was messed up.
Yeah.
I could see why you could be upset, why you're still upset. Okay, so now what? How long are we going to be there?
Exactly.
Because at this point, it's no longer hurting them. It's just hurting you. So you don't have to forgive them, but what can you do to move on?
Okay, all right.
Right? Because sometimes when you sit there with a client, you're like, oh, let's work on forgiveness. They're so stuck. There's certain things that people just really struggle with. Child molestation, being raped. Like certain things are hard for you to just be like, okay, I'm gonna forgive that person. They know now what they do and I'm gonna let it go. Sometimes you be like, nah, that was messed up and I'm mad about that.
It's true.
Okay, so now what we gonna do? We gonna go box. We gonna go work with kids. What we gonna do with that anger? Okay. Because you can use it in a productive way. Doesn't always have to be destructive.
Listen, I could be sitting here talking for hours with Coach La. But I want to get to a specific part of the conversation, and we talked a bit about it on your show, but I want to talk about it over here too.
I was wondering what she was going to ask me.
You already know.
I feel this feet getting hot.
No, nothing bad. It's pretty much what we spoke on. When you came to my show, the first thing I said to you, actually I then came to your show, I was about to name yours mine. All right, so I had a show called Uncomfortable Conversations, and then Coach La had a show called Unfiltered.
Yes.
Okay, Conversations.
No filter.
No filter. Conversations,
no filter.
Right? So when that happens, the city likes to buzz. I had people in my ear. Oh, you see that? Y'all see that Coach La lady? She's over here trying to do an event just like yours. Oh, you see she's partnering up with James Lambert III too. So what I'm saying this to say, a lot of times within this city, and I'm sure other cities can relate too, when you have two people who are doing similar things, people want to pit us against each other. And I'm grateful that we both took the idea and the attitude of absolutely not. If anything,
not on this watch.
If anything, that's going to push us more to support one another, right? Yes. Because just because we're in the same lane doesn't mean we both can't eat. You feel me?
Like there's multiple restaurants on the same street.
This woman is a whole licensed therapist. I ain't licensed nowhere. You feel me? Like, right. So there's even though we have similar spirits, similar energies, we both can eat. Yes, and I just appreciate that you took that that mind frame just as well as I did, where it's like we want to make it a point to show something different. So if you don't get anything else from this, please understand, get rid of that scarcity mindset. Yes. Everybody can eat. I promise you. And one person being in their lane and being strong does not hinder you from yours, as long as you know what you're doing in your lane. I'm just saying.
That is so true. I think, and being able to allow, I won't even say conflict, but the ability that everything is not going to just go smooth.
Exactly.
And I think whenever there's some pushback or no, we can kind of shut down instead of like saying to ourselves, okay, how do I respect your boundary? Because this is why boundaries are so hard. Ooh. Right?
On both sides.
Right, because just saying it to a person, you're uncomfortable. Hearing it is uncomfortable because we hear rejection. We hear, I'm not good enough. No, you can't get on my platform. I don't see you the same way I see me. Or just all of these negative things start to come into your mind about what that no means.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of it hits your self-esteem, your ego, and your self-worth. And then that's like, well, I don't need that person.
Then it becomes an unsaid beef. Don't get me started on that.
Unsaid beef. But I think what really needs to happen is you do have to build rapport and relationship. And people do need to sort of see, will we mesh? I know that that's difficult to think about, but sometimes certain partnerships don't work.
And so everything is not going to be a partnership, but it's a level of respect in the lane that you're in, right?
Yeah,
that's
right.
it. That's just it.
And why can't we have multiple people doing the same thing?
Because God forbid. That's the scarcity mindset that I speak on.
Right.
I think it's a Black thing. I'm going to just put it out there. I think it's a Black thing where we feel like there's got to be one token. And if there's more than one, we're now in competition. And we've got to get rid of that mindset. Absolutely.
Yeah. I think we definitely do. Especially, I think we hear it a lot here in Boston.
Yeah.
And people say, oh, it's so different. Other places, people come together. In Boston, they don't. I say to myself, okay, I'm not going to embrace that. Let me be the first person that does something different to change the narrative. So thank you for helping me change the narrative.
Thank you for helping me to change the narrative, okay? Now I'll ask you one final question, and I'll say this. It's easy, nothing crazy. It's Women's History Month, so I like to stay in theme. Who would you say, are there any women in your life that have inspired you to be the woman you are today? Because some people might consider you a shero.
Yeah.
So who are the people behind?
So can I pick more than one?
You absolutely can.
All right. So up first, I would always say that it is my mother. And I'm going to say that because although me and her have our differences, the things that she was able to navigate as I look back, I don't know that I could have done that.
Talk about it.
Right. I don't know that I could have done it. I don't know that I would have chosen to have 6 children. I don't know that I would have chosen to move out of my apartment and move in with my dad. I don't think I would have done some of the things that she did. Okay. But I think that by doing those things, what I learned from her is resilience and how to navigate hard things and not completely fall apart.
Okay.
But at the same time, I think she also taught me what not to do. So I live out loud. I take better care of myself. And this is why I'm talking about this forgiveness thing. It can eat you from the inside out and you can isolate yourself and you can live a life that you really don't ever really experience anything because of fear and because you're upset about things that happened in the past. So she also taught me not to do that.
Okay.
So my mom. I really also look at Oprah, and I think going into a space of media, she became somebody that I looked at in terms of her, how she's navigated and done different things. So from having her own show, actress, coming into a space that's predominantly was white men, and creating a lane and creating opportunities for other people. So I think that that's super, super dope. And last but not least, I really love Queen Latifah.
Come on, sis. Get out. Because why you steal my answer?
I love Queen Latifah because I feel like back in the day, genre of music that I grew up in, she was different.
Yeah.
And she was strong and she was bold. And yeah, maybe because we both had names to begin with an L, but I just loved her lyrics. It was very much bringing people together, uniting women.
Yes.
And I think as time has transcended, she has just become just like bigger than life, in terms of what she's able to do. And I think a lot of the entertainers, rappers, if you want to call them, from our generation, just have shown us that you don't have to be in a box.
No.
And I feel like that's what I see with Queen Latifah. I really love how she stepped into her femininity and then coming out about her sexuality, but keeping everything private, going into movies. And that Equalizer show she got is pretty bad.
Come on.
She's badass in that movie.
She's definitely multifaceted on so many different levels.
And she still knows all of her lyrics and still can rock a party.
Okay, and then hit you with a jazz scat.
Oh, and I forgot about that. And she sings too.
Yes.
So I those three, when I think about essence, vibe, I hope to bring all of that to a therapy session.
That's dope. That is so dope. And I think that's a perfect way to end this conversation. Now listen, for those who are looking for you, so either whether it's for therapy or if they want to come up on your show, all of the above, how can they contact you?
So I am on Instagram, therapist_coach LA. I also have a show on the Urban Heat. Shout out to my Urban Heat family.
Shout out to the folks at Urban Heat.
And my iHeartRadio family, because we're also on iHeartRadio. So you can listen to Conversations with Coach La Sundays at 10 p.m. live on the Urban Heat Radio's platform and iHeartRadio platform. If you're looking for therapy, I'm on Psychology Today. I'm a verified therapist. You simply just have to look up Lakeisha Austin, which is my government name. And I am, as they say, Google me.
Google me, baby.
I'm all over social media.
And I'm going to do a selfless plug. If you want to catch the episode that we did together, where can they find that as well?
So if you follow iHeartRadio, she's actually the last episode that just happened 2 Sundays ago. And she's all over my social media.
Literally. Literally.
All over my social media. She actually gave a new analogy that is killing it right now, which is that therapy's like going to the gym.
Period.
Right. And that's a place for you to work out your emotions.
Yes.
Which everybody loves.
Yes, they do. Everybody loves a good workout.
Yes. A good therapeutic workout. Come to therapy. I'll work your emotions out for you.
I know that's right. Work them out, sis. And after you're done with therapy, you can then follow Ms. Mofilla on everything. MsMofilla.com. Make sure you check out my website. And also make sure you follow Inside the Maze on Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter. Make sure you like, follow, and subscribe. And hit that little notification bell down at the bottom so you can keep track of everything we're doing over here, man. It's the Critical Breakdown. Ms. Mofilla. Coach La in the building. Finally. And more to come with Coach La, man. Peace out.